Have you ever worked towards something for months and then ruined it in a single decision? Have you ever procrastinated on something that truly mattered to you, even though you knew it could change your life? Have you ever pushed away someone who treated you well and later wondered why you did that? Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people are not held back by lack of intelligence. They are not held back by lack of opportunity. They are held back by invisible psychological patterns they do not even realize are running the show. This is self-sabotage. And it is far more complex than fear of failure or low confidence. Today on Minecraft Lab, we are going deep into the real psychology of self-sabotage, backed by research from Carl Jung, Aaron Beck, Albert Bandura, attachment theory researchers, and modern neuroscience. Because once you understand what is actually happening inside your brain and nervous system, you stop blaming yourself and you start changing yourself. What self-sabotage actually is. Self-sabotage is not a clinical diagnosis. It is a behavioral pattern. Psychologists often describe it as self-defeating behavior, actions that interfere with long-term goals in order to relieve short-term emotional discomfort. That distinction is important. Self-sabotage is usually not about destroying success. It is about regulating emotion. You procrastinate because starting creates anxiety. You avoid commitment because vulnerability creates fear. You quit early because uncertainty creates stress. In the short term, avoidance reduces discomfort. In the long term, it creates regret. That is the psychological trap. The brain prefers predictability over potential. Earlier versions of this idea often say, the brain prefers failure over success. That is not technically accurate. What research actually shows is that the brain strongly prefers predictability. Neuroscientist Carl Friston's theory of predictive processing suggests that the brain is constantly trying to minimize surprise. It wants the world to match its expectations. If your identity predicts struggle, then sudden success creates psychological prediction error. Your nervous system interprets that as instability. The amygdala does not specifically fear success. It reacts to uncertainty, social threat, and loss of control. Success often includes all three. That is why growth can feel dangerous. Core beliefs and cognitive dissonance. Aaron Beck's cognitive theory explains that we develop core beliefs early in life about ourselves, others, and the world. Examples: I am unworthy. People leave. I always mess things up. Success isn't for people like me. These beliefs are not logical. They are emotional conclusions formed from repeated experiences. Now here is where Leon Festinger's cognitive dissonance theory becomes critical. When your actions conflict with your deeply held beliefs, psychological discomfort occurs. If you believe you are not worthy of love, and someone treats you with genuine love, your brain experiences dissonance. One way to reduce dissonance is to update the belief, but that requires vulnerability and internal restructuring. The easier way? Sabotage the relationship. Not because you want pain, but because pain matches the internal story. Fear of success. Martina Horner's 1970s research introduced fear of success, but modern psychology frames it differently. It is not fear of achievement itself. It is fear of the consequences attached to achievement. Research in social psychology shows that humans are highly sensitive to social belonging. If success threatens acceptance, identity, or group harmony, the nervous system may resist it. For example, if you grew up in an environment where standing out led to criticism, your brain may associate visibility with rejection. So when opportunity arises, your system hesitates. This is not laziness. It is social survival wiring. Self-handicapping. Edward Jones and Stephen Berglas formally studied self-handicapping in 1978. They found that people sometimes create obstacles before a performance situation, so they have an external explanation for potential failure. Example: procrastinating before an exam, going out late the night before a presentation, not preparing fully for an opportunity. This protects self-esteem. If you fail, you can blame the obstacle. If you succeed, you look impressive despite the obstacle. Self-handicapping reduces the threat to identity. It is not irrational. It is protective. But over time, it becomes self-limiting. Trauma and nervous system conditioning. It would be inaccurate to say people are addicted to chaos. A more accurate statement is this: the nervous system becomes conditioned to familiar states. Research in trauma psychology shows that early chronic stress can sensitize the stress response system. If someone grows up in unpredictable or high conflict environment, their baseline arousal level may be higher. Calm can feel unfamiliar. Unfamiliar can feel unsafe. So when life becomes stable, the body may unconsciously seek stimulation to return to a known baseline. This is not drama-seeking behavior. It is physiological conditioning. Perfectionism. Brené Brown's work highlights the emotional side of perfectionism, but research by Gordon Flett and Paul Hewitt provides more clinical structure. They identify different types of perfectionism: self-oriented perfectionism, other-oriented perfectionism, socially prescribed perfectionism. Socially prescribed perfectionism, the belief that others demand perfection from you, is strongly linked to anxiety, depression, and avoidance. Perfectionism often leads to procrastination because starting creates the possibility of imperfection, so avoidance becomes emotional regulation. Identity and self-efficacy. Albert Bandura's theory of self-efficacy is crucial here. Self-efficacy is your belief in your ability to execute behaviors necessary to produce outcomes. If your self-efficacy is low, you are more likely to avoid challenges, give up quickly, interpret setbacks as proof of inability. Self-sabotage often follows low self-efficacy. This is not about identity alone. It is about perceived capability, and self-efficacy grows through small mastery experiences, not motivation. Evidence. Attachment and relationship sabotage. Attachment theory research shows that early caregiving experiences shape expectations in adult relationships. Anxiously attached individuals may hyperactivate emotional responses to perceived rejection. Avoidantly attached individuals may deactivate closeness when intimacy increases. These are not conscious choices. They are adaptive strategies learned early in life. Relationship self-sabotage often occurs when current closeness activates old attachment fear. You are not reacting to your partner. You are reacting to history. Breaking the pattern. Change requires 3 scientifically supported elements. Awareness. Mindfulness research shows that observing thoughts without reacting reduces automatic behavior. Cognitive restructuring. Cognitive behavioral therapy techniques help identify and challenge distorted core beliefs. Behavioral exposure. Gradual exposure to feared success or intimacy retrains the nervous system. You do not eliminate fear first. You act with it present. Repeated safe experiences update prediction. And over time, the nervous system recalibrates. Maybe you are not weak. Maybe you are not lazy. Maybe your brain learned survival strategies that once protected you, but are now limiting you. Self-sabotage is rarely self-hatred. It is outdated protection, and protection can be upgraded. The moment you understand the pattern, you interrupt the pattern. That is where power begins. This is Minecraft Lab, and the real transformation starts with awareness.